Most people who want to know how to grow tomatoes think the problem is in the soil or the seeds or the weather. It's not. You're losing pounds of fruit to 5 pruning mistakes, and you're making at least 3 of them right now. And here's what makes this painful. Every single mistake is done with good intentions. You're trying to help your plants, and it's costing you your harvest. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which 5 mistakes to stop making, why each one kills your yield, and the exact system I use in my garden, season after season. Let's get into it. Mistake number 1. Mistake number 1. Removing every sucker without thinking. Here's what most people believe. Every sucker needs to go. Remove them all. Keep it clean. Keep it simple. I used to believe the same thing. In my garden, I spent hours, seriously hours, removing every single sucker that dared to appear. I was convinced I was being a good gardener. Here's the thing, I was destroying my own harvest. A sucker is just a new shoot that grows in the joint between the main stem and a branch. And yes, if you leave every one of them, your plant turns into a jungle. A beautiful, green, fruit-free jungle. But here's what nobody tells you. Not all suckers work the same way. The suckers that grow below the first flower cluster, those need to go, every time. No exceptions, but above the first cluster, some of those can stay. If you're growing indeterminate tomatoes, the kind that keep climbing and producing all season, letting one strong sucker develop into a second main stem actually increases your total yield. You're not fighting the plant, you're doubling it. I learned this the hard way after one season where I pruned everything. My plant looked gorgeous, tall, neat, almost manicured, and I got maybe 1/3 of the fruit I expected. Let that sink in. The rule I follow now: remove all suckers below the first flower cluster. Keep one strong secondary stem above it. Pinch everything else while it's still small, under 2 inches. Your fingers are enough. No tools needed. Personally, I do this check every single week during the growing season. It takes me 5 minutes, and it made more difference to my harvest than anything else I've ever tried. Mistake number 2. Stripping leaves aggressively. Wait, stop for a second. This next part is critical. Your leaves are not the enemy. I know they look messy. I know it feels productive to strip them back and expose all that fruit. But here's the reality. Your tomato plant uses those leaves to produce the sugars that grow your tomatoes. Think of every leaf as a solar panel. Start ripping out solar panels and your plant loses the power it needs to finish the fruit it's already growing. Have you ever grown a tomato plant that looked absolutely perfect but gave you weirdly small fruit? Yeah, me too. This was probably why. This is the mistake I see most in vegetable gardening for beginners. Someone reads that you should remove the bottom leaves to improve airflow, which is true, and then they go full lumberjack on the entire plant. Here's what actually happens when you over-prune. The plant panics. It pulls energy away from fruit production and into rebuilding its canopy. Your tomatoes stay small, they take longer to ripen, and the ones at the very top of the plant never get enough energy to develop properly. The rule is simple: never remove more than 1/3 of the plant's foliage at one time, ever. If you need to improve airflow, and you do, especially in humid climates, remove the leaves at the very bottom first, the ones touching the soil or sitting in heavy shade. That's it. Leave the middle and top canopy completely alone. Honestly, this is one of those gardening tips for beginners that costs nothing to fix and saves your entire harvest. Here's something that, honestly, almost nobody covers in gardening tips for beginners. Your pruning shears might be spreading disease through your entire tomato garden. In my garden, for a long time, I'd just grab whatever clippers were closest. I'd prune one plant, move to the next, and then move to the next. I had no idea I was potentially carrying early blight, bacterial canker, and fusarium wilt from one plant to another, all on the blade of my clippers. Here's the thing. Tomatoes are really vulnerable. Every cut is, well, an open wound, and when you make that cut with a contaminated blade, you're basically injecting whatever was living on your last plant directly into this one. This mistake is brutal because it doesn't show up immediately. You'll prune in June, your plants will look fine in July, and then in August, you'll stand there wondering what went wrong. The damage was done weeks before you ever saw it. The fix is almost embarrassingly simple. Wipe your blades with rubbing alcohol or a 10% bleach solution between plants. Not between sessions, between plants. 10 seconds, that's all it takes. And dull tools, just as bad. A dull blade doesn't really cut, it crushes and tears the stem. A torn stem heals slower, stays exposed longer, and invites disease in ways a clean cut never does. Honestly, don't spend money on expensive fertilizers and then skip a $2 bottle of rubbing alcohol. That's completely backwards. Mistake number 4, pruning at the wrong time of day. This one seems almost too small to matter. But honestly, it's not. Pruning in the middle of the day, especially on hot, sunny days, stresses your plant in ways that are completely avoidable. Here's the reality. When you prune in peak sun, the open wound is immediately hit with intense heat and UV. The plant is already working hard just to manage its temperature and water loss. Add fresh cuts on top of that, and you're piling stress onto stress. In my garden, I started pruning exclusively in the early morning, before the sun got high, when the plant was still hydrated from overnight. The cuts healed faster, almost zero wilting after pruning sessions. My plants bounced back within a day. Compare that to my first 2 seasons, when I'd prune whenever I had 20 free minutes, usually mid-afternoon, in July heat. Half my plants looked sad for 3 or 4 days after every pruning session, and I couldn't figure out why. The rule: prune in the early morning. And one more thing. Never prune if rain is forecast within 24 hours. Wet wounds invite fungal problems faster than almost anything else. This is a gardening tip for beginners that takes zero extra effort. You just change when you do it. Mistake number 5. Pruning determinate tomatoes like indeterminates. This is the mistake that completely changed how I grow tomatoes. There are 2 types of tomato plants. Indeterminate tomatoes keep growing, keep flowering, and keep producing fruit all season, right up to frost. These are the plants that need aggressive sucker removal and structural pruning. Determinate tomatoes, also called bush tomatoes, are different. They grow to a fixed height, set all their fruit in one concentrated window, and then they're done. Here's the thing. If you prune a determinate tomato the same way you prune an indeterminate, you are cutting off the exact branches that were going to produce your fruit. You're not shaping the plant, you're deleting your harvest. Determinate varieties: Roma, Celebrity, Rutgers, Marglobe. These plants set fruit on specific lateral branches in a fixed pattern. Remove those branches and the fruit they would have produced is gone. Period. If you're doing vegetable gardening for beginners and you bought a 6-pack of starts at the garden center without reading the tag, there's a real chance you didn't know what type you had. Here's how to tell. Check the plant tag. It will say determinate or indeterminate. If the tag is gone, watch the growth pattern. Indeterminate plants keep pushing up a central leader. The main vine just keeps going. Determinate plants reach a certain height, bush outward, and the growing tip ends in a flower cluster. This one piece of information changes how you grow tomatoes more than almost anything else I can tell you. Let that sink in. Alright, here's the exact system I use in my garden every single season. Week 1 after transplant. Nothing. Don't touch it. Let it establish. Week 2 onward. Check for suckers below the first flower cluster every week. Remove them when they're small. Under 2 inches. Your fingers are enough. No tools needed. Every pruning session. Early morning only. Tools wiped clean. Foliage. Never remove more than 1/3 at a time. Start from the bottom and work up. If you're growing indeterminates, train 1 secondary stem. Pinch everything else. If you're growing determinates, remove the bottom leaves for airflow. That's your entire pruning protocol. Simple, repeatable, and it works. Trust me on this system. Once you use it for a full season, you'll never go back. Now here's what I want you to do before your next trip out to the garden. Go look at your tomato plants. Just look. Are you seeing suckers you've been removing blindly? Leaves you've been stripping too aggressively? When did you last clean your pruning shears? Pick one mistake from this list. Just one. Fix it this week. Drop a comment below and tell me which mistake you've been making. I read every single one, and I'm genuinely curious how many of you have been pruning determinate tomatoes without knowing it. If you're just getting started with how to grow tomatoes and you want to go further, there's a video right here that walks you through the 5 seeds you need to plant before September. You'll want to watch that one next. Subscribe if you haven't already. Now, go check those tomato plants. Your harvest is waiting.